Welcome to the dark side, the desire, the passion, the dominance of the masculine. Today, let me get out of this first. Okay, this is way too dramatic for me. All right, but I want to talk about this, and that's why I put this on, because too many guys really screw this up, okay? They get way too serious about this kind of thing, and we're going to talk about it. By the way, did I say it's Ask Hypnotica 58? If I didn't, no, I did. So, dear Eric, greetings from Canada. I'm really confused about something. I've been learning about women from a lot of different coaches, and now I feel like it's just too much information. Now, many men talk about dominating women and how to be alpha. Can you explain your perspective on this? Some of the people I have learned from, I feel have a misogynistic view about women, and I don't want to be like that, but I do want to be more successful with women. I hope you can find the time to answer this, and thank you for taking time to help give guys a path to the masculine ways of being. Jonas. All right, Jonas, I agree with you. All right, there's a lot of bad coaches out there. I mean, horrible coaches. All right, lifestyle coaches, okay? Pickup artists, okay? A lot of guys get this wrong because they overcompensate. And I think a lot of these guys, okay, have been fractured a little bit in their psyche. So you got to understand that there's certain things that if guys say, it's just not the humanistic way of doing things. Now, I got to tell you about certain things, okay? In my opinion, okay, a lot of women, I'm not going to say all, but a lot of women secretly like to be led, all right? They like a strong, masculine male who's going to lead the way, who's going to lead, all right? But that doesn't mean dominate, doesn't mean boss, it doesn't mean control. And a lot of these guys that teach these things think that's what it is. Now, I'm going to say, sometimes there are women out there that like this kind of thing. So I'm not going to go all the way and say and denounce it. I'm going to say there's certain women that like that kind of thing. And hey, if that's what they're into, that's what they're into. Some people are into enemas up the butt with milk. Not my thing, okay? Some people like to lick feet. Not my thing. Some people like to be bossed around and treated like shit. Not my thing, all right? So I'm going to try to give you a really healthy way to look at these things, all right? So when you're talking about, like, let's talk about the misogynistic view. A lot of guys, because their entire lives they've been probably too nice, and so there's like it's like a pendulum, okay? And a lot of these guys have to find that fine balance in between. It's like they're over here and they were too nice, and then they're like, I'm going to go over here and then just kind of be a dick. And you got to find that balance, and it takes a while to find that balance. I know I was, pretty much the nice guy for a long time, and trust me, when you work in the strip club 23 years, you learn to knock that shit off real quick because you're going to get run over and eaten up alive. So I had to find that balance real quick if I was going to survive in that and be able to protect and lead and give advice and give direction and to be a role model to a degree. It's kind of weird to say, be a role model in a strip club, but yeah, there's a lot of things that go on in the strip club, and you got to step up and you got to handle business that command presence. So here's one of the things. A lot of these guys, like I said, they're a little hurt. They're a little butt hurt. Now, the way I look at it, and this is my own perspective on it, because you're asking for my perspective, I like a good balance down the middle. Now, I know that I can be a stubborn asshole just because I am super strong with my vision and my mission, and I stick to it, and that's where I go by. So if someone doesn't buy into my world the way that I prefer or my preferences are, I'm just like, man, I'm not going to have it. This is the way it is, okay? Whether you deal with it or you don't deal with it. And a lot of people don't like that because they think that they can bend me or they can, form me into what it is that they want. And I always just tell them, hey, you know what? Like, your vision of me is different than who I am. So we got to work on that. Now, being dominant, okay, is really about really knowing who you are, about knowing your vision, what's important to you, leading a way that is compatible and it integrated into your own ideas of how you want to live your life and be happy and things like this. And when people come against it or they test your boundaries, sometimes you got to slap them down. I don't mean like physically. I just mean like, no, I ain't having it. Like, this is the way it is. All right. Now, a lot of these guys, like I said, there are many successful guys out there that are dominant, okay? Think about all these guys that are in prison, okay, with women still waiting for them because they're just kind of the bad boy or they're the asshole or, like I said, women like, a lot of women, like to be led in a certain way. So to be more successful with women, I think, okay, in a healthy way, is really understanding who you are, what you want, okay, and understanding that a lot of times, okay, women lead with their emotions, and logic, you got to come in and say, hey, this is what we're doing, and you got to explain it to them, and you got to say, this is the reasons for it, and you got to just do it, and you have to be okay with saying, well, that's fine, go do your thing, and I'm going to go do my thing, and walking away with this. Now, is it completely successful for a long-term relationship? Maybe. You never know. But the thing that you really need to figure out is there anger behind it? Because a lot of guys, if you listen to them, like this is what you got to look out for. Listen, use your ears. All right. If they're calling bitches cunts, if they're calling bitches bitches, if they're saying misogynistic things or demeaning the female race in any way whatsoever, okay, they're the ones that are broken. Okay, so you probably want to steer clear of that, all right, because I don't believe it's healthy. Like, I believe that men and women are meant to be like harmonious together and we can both benefit from each other. I don't believe in calling them bitches or cunts or any of that kind of stuff, all right? Like, if you hear that, run, okay? If you hear where guys like, God, man, guys really get this wrong, all right? And, they want to say, well, we're better than, or we're men and we're masculine. Okay, there's nothing alpha about that, okay? Alpha is just so relaxed in who you are and being able to just do your thing and lead and say this is what it is. There's not like this raw emotion behind it where it's like, I'm alpha, I got to like dominate, I got to be this way. It doesn't work that way, okay? That's like someone trying to be alpha. That's when someone trying to be dominant. Okay, dominant's just like, no, I'm going to do this. This is the way it is. Adios. Okay, I don't wait around for anyone. I'm going to go do it. Okay, matter of fact, it's very chill. It's very integrated. It's very peaceful to a degree. It's just like, okay, well, if you want to do it, you want to do it. If not a problem. All right. But the thing that you really want to understand to become successful is you have to have, this is really isn't about the women. It's not about dominating them. Okay. It's about being completely aligned with your own integrity and your own values and going from there and doing what you want to do and having that very crystal clear in your mind. So when you are moving forward into whatever experience you are, you basically can give a person choice. You want to go, or do you not want to go? It's all good. Either way, I'm happy. All right. And that is a leader's type of way. Let me just see if I can figure this out. Now, about the too much information. See, the nice thing about when we first started, there wasn't a lot of information. And really, I've never really studied anyone else as far as their techniques. Maybe a little bit just to see what they're about and stuff like this. But I want to do my way. I want to do my way, what felt good to me. And I believe that every person has a path and every person has a mission and every person has a purpose in life. And you're going to figure it out for your balance point. Now, if you think that women like to be dominated and you try and you're like, well, I mean, I've run into some dudes that made me cringe, like literally cringe. It was just, they were so just deeply angry that I couldn't understand. I remember one time I was driving this party bus and I picked up these guys and they were actually like pickup coaches in San Diego. I kind of created this whole genre, not the pickup thing, but just the male lifestyle thing. And all these guys came in. And I was listening to them on the bus. They didn't recognize me, okay, at first. And I'm listening to them. And they had some kids that were with them. And they were giving the shittiest advice. It was so just wrong. It's like, listen, these bitches, like, and I'm just thinking to myself, yo, man. And so when the coaches got off the bus, because they stopped, they wanted to go to a liquor store. And I turned around, I go, hey, you ever read the book, The Game? And they're like, yeah, The Game. And I go, well, I'm Rasputin, because that's who I was in the game, Rasputin. And they're like, oh, well, wow, look, it's Hypnotica, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, listen, man, I'm going to tell you straight up, do not listen to a fucking thing that these guys are saying. They're fucking morons, all right? Serious morons. Like, it was embarrassing. And they want to go to the strip club. That guy was actually taking them to Cheetahs because that's where they thought they were going to teach these guys to date. And when they got back in the car, like, or the shuttle, the Mercedes shuttle, when they got back in, they were like, oh, let's go get a bunch of coke and call hookers. And I was like, I like that. This is what you're teaching these guys? Like, this is ridiculous, okay? And it's such, a lot of these guys, you got to be real careful about this, man. I'm being serious about this, okay? A lot of guys, self-esteem and their self-worth is about, like, the validity of women. And if they don't get it and they're not validated by them, they get really angry. So there's some serious flaws that are going out there. To really be successful, like I said, you don't have to be dominant, okay? There are times where you need to be dominant. There's are women that you like to be dominated to that. I mean, 50 Shades of Grey should approve that, all right? And there's that type of dominant. But dominant is not a controlling dominant. A dominant is not like you are mine and your soul is mine. Shit, I have a hard enough time with my own soul and keeping things right. Like, I don't need another person piggybacking in here. I mean, and I don't think anyone else does either. Like, get your thing down. Say, hey, this is what I'm about. If you want to hang out, we want to hang out. Cool. Then that's the way it is. But you definitely probably don't want another person, like, in charge of another person. Like, that's a lot of work. And it's just easier that way when you're like, this is me, this is you. Do we get along? Cool. There are certain things that I'm going to lead on, and there's certain things that I know that you like. And if I know that you like them, I'm going to keep focusing on that, and I'm going to keep doing them. But when it gets to the point where it becomes degrading a person or telling them mean things or getting violent with them or, wanting to control them or being so up on their shit that they don't have time to breathe. Okay, that's like a serious character flaw. So the only advice I can say is, take a step back, figure out, this is the way to get out. Okay, figure out who you want to be. Who do you want to be? Okay, like if you could have the ultimate vision of yourself and interacting with a woman, okay, and this is the important part, and having a well-established frame, a well-established rules, well-established boundaries, what you're going to put up and what you don't put up with, it makes it easy, because if a person goes against that, you're just like, hey, I don't like that shit, knock it off. Matter of fact, you don't have to be like, you dumb bitch, which I hear a lot of guys do. All right, like, why would you get angry? Like, don't do that, man. It's not good for you. It's not good for them. It brings everyone down. It's just a bummer, man. So, like, find your little middle ground. Like, and I don't know. This is really hard for me to understand because I'm not like this. Okay, I am what some people would say dominant, but I'm not dominant in that way. I'm dominant and I know who I am, and I do my best to dominate my own thoughts, because everyone has thoughts that go all across the board. So it's like, you're going to dominate this thought, and like these are going to be the ways that you're going to go. So, that will rub off and that'll show. So when you're out there, you don't have to be like, I'm better than this person. We've already talked about that. Nobody's better than anyone else. Anyone that's trying to be better than someone else has got a serious character flaw and is broken a little bit until they fix that, and everyone can fix it. So I'm just letting you know. So hopefully, like I said, this is kind of a weird one, but find out, who do you think? Like, if you get a good feeling and you're like, hey man, I like what this guy's saying, stick with it. If a person's a little bit too angry, aggressive, and things like this, okay, there's going to come a point where it's all going to fall apart, because no body, and I mean body, okay, can take anger for that long. Okay, it's going to break down and it's going to hurt them. So if you see that, stay away from it. Figure out who you want to be, go for it, and listen. And just listen. Nobody needs to be dominating anyone else, okay? Just enjoy your life and go out there and have fun, okay? That's the best way. Have fun, and we'll talk soon. Adios.